Look, if we're just being objective, we look at Jay-Z and we see when when his children were born, we saw a change in Jay-Z, right? Especially as far as his content. Like he put out 444. And he seems like he's trying to be an activist socially, even though it's definitely benefiting him. But he's like changed his ways. Like you're not seeing Jay-Z in parties on social media. You're not seeing Jay-Z like the Jay-Z that he once was. Diddy never changed. Having the children that he didn't change him. You know, he kept going. He kept having these parties. And the thing with Drake is the very similarity I would say between him and Diddy that you're talking about is that very thing. Drake isn't, all his music that's came out is still the same, like, you know, party, fun vibes, you know, putting down women, degrading women, you know, glorifying, you know, sex, drugs, the good life, the good times. Like that's what his music is about. And you still see him out and partying and whatnot, right? You're not seeing Jay-Z do that, right? He's not glamorizing anything like he used to. So if I were to say anything about Jay-Z positive, that would be it. It does seem like his life has changed since his daughters were born, right?
At least his public persona.
At least his public persona, right? But Drake, I would say, is a lot like Diddy in that way. You know, he's a partier and he seems to like that kind of lifestyle.
The fact that you mentioned Jay-Z, I want to actually ask you a question about Jay-Z. Mm-hmm. You said in that interview with Jaguar Wright and Real Life Productions, you stated that you were actually the one responsible for spreading the rumor that Jay-Z and Rihanna had hooked up. Now, my question to you is, do you believe that at all? Did you believe that rumor before you said it, before you claimed it? Do you believe that there's any truth? Not saying that you're accusing Jay-Z. Let's make this clear. We're not trying to get anybody in trouble here. But do you believe that there's a possibility that that could have been true? And the reason why I'll say this to you before you answer, Jay-Z signed Rihanna at 3:00 in the morning when she was 16 years old. I believe it was in a hotel room, but it could have been in the office, in the record label office. She was also discovered in a hotel room. That's what it was. She was discovered when she was a teenager in a hotel room. I forgot the producer's name, but he was vacationing in Barbados, right? And he discovered Rihanna in a hotel room, had her audition, her and two other girls in a hotel room.
As we all know, 3 a.m. is the witching hour. It's all Luciferian. So Jay-Z signs Rihanna at 3 a.m. and Rihanna at the age of 16 in a hotel room. Left, and left. That's just all left. And it should tell you what the entertainment industry is about when it comes to that type of dynamic where you have a little girl in a hotel room. What the fuck is they doing in a hotel room other than what we assume or presume? We already know. It should show you the type of energy that's pervasive in the entertainment industry when it comes to this for that, quid pro quo, or just sex exchange. When it comes to the transfer of energies, and that's just beyond what I'm speaking of, but just think about it, like 16 years old in a hotel room and you get signed at 3 a.m. We already know 3 a.m. is the witching hour. It says in folklore, the witching hour is a time of night when supernatural beings are thought to be at their most powerful. So this is why it's important, because the understanding comes from them channeling that energy for it to be augmented when it comes to this person that's being signed, this subject, Rihanna, in which she gets the name Rihanna because it goes back to Rhiannon, but her real name is Fenty or Robin or something like that. Rihanna is an allusion to the quote-unquote mother goddess known as Rhiannon or Epona, the witch or the Celtic horse goddess. That's what Rihanna is an allusion to. Also an allusion to sexual fertility, sexual fluidity. This is why Rihanna is so like sexually provocative in her music, or at least when she first came out, you know, came on the scene and whatnot. But that's interesting. Rihanna was signed at 3 a.m. We already know, like we read here, the term witching hour has evolved to have a more general meaning referring to times of unpredictable or volatile activity. For example, it can be described It can describe the unsettling sleep of infants or the final hours of stock trading. Yeah, that's all ancillary. We already understand the overall meaning of 3 a.m. when it comes to the esoteric realm, when it comes to the music realm, entertainment realm, because they adhere to these things. It's no coincidence that this person was signed at 3 a.m. at the age of 16 in a hotel room. Come on, man. Come on. And it's funny because I mentioned how certain ones, they get outed and they get raked over the coals as far as like, you know, a Diddy or R. Kelly or Weinstein. But nobody ever talked about Jay-Z. Foxy Brown, he put Foxy Brown on. How old was she? 15 years old, 16 years old on a Reasonable Doubt album. Beyonce, how old was she? 17, 18 years old. Jay-Z is 12 years older than Beyonce. Like, right? It's just interesting. So this is how you know that it's not necessarily about Kendrick is exposing Drake, or Diddy is the one that's being, you know, raked over the coals, or he's the one that's being taken down. It's all orchestrated. It's all set up for certain ones to be removed, for certain ones to be highlighted, because of how the powers that be form these sort of rituals based off of whatever is going on behind the scenes with the person that they performing a ritual on. This person must have rebelled. This person must have, you know, the person probably wasn't willing to capitulate. You know, Jay-Z, he's a good old boy. Jay-Z, the company man. So maybe, you know, it's going to take some time for him to be raked over the coals, or for him to be, you know, in some sort of like ritual when it comes to the humiliation aspect.
You know, the way I look at things, a 16-year-old girl in a country like Barbados with people with money like this usually go over there to have fun. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So without, you know, saying anything that would get you in trouble, can you explain why you made that, you know, that PR move and said that Drake and Rihanna had, not Drake, Jay-Z and Rihanna had something going on? And then can you tell me if you believe any of that could be a possibility?
So as far as the rumor, I came out and said that I started the rumor a long time ago because I was told that I would be rewarded significantly.
Okay.
You know, for coming out and saying that I started the rumor, and it stuck. I was to be the one that was to fall on the sword, so to speak.
Okay.
And it's like, for the very reasons that I told you why I couldn't really, you know, do anything. I had to make compromises like that all the time, because my life depended on it. My bills depended on it. My food, my drink, my loved ones depended on it. That's my career. It's my job. Like, that's all I've ever done. What am I supposed to do? Right. So when I come out there and I would like openly admit it, you know, like I started the rumor, there was reasons, you know, for me saying that. Right. But at the same time, when we put out the rumor, it wasn't just me that put it out. There was other people involved that came up with the idea of putting that out. When I was first introduced to the Rihanna project from a producer, the first thing he said to me was, "She looks like Beyonce." And she did. She was 16 at the time, and she looked very much like she was trying to look like Beyonce. So that was very strange, right? And then I started hearing her music and loving it and promoting it. Then the Becoming Beyonce book comes out in 2015, and it talks about me being the person who put out the rumor, and you know, went viral back then in 2015. I went on Inside Edition. I apologized for putting out the rumor.
It was the rumor would not go away. Rihanna was romancing Jay-Z behind Beyonce's back. But now, at last, we can that rumor to...
Yeah, that's the surface level. That's the surface level narrative. Let's say it's a rumor so we could play on the minds of the masses, the simple minds of the masses. Because a lot of people are so celebrity driven, so they eat this stuff up, not even putting two and two together. Like, obviously Jay-Z was doing stuff with Rihanna, and this was before I even had an understanding of these type of things. I just was, I had this notion just based off of his dealings with Beyonce. It's like, okay, so this person like young girls. You know what I mean? I think even Rita Ora, she was young when she was signed to Roc Nation. But it's obvious Jay-Z and Rihanna did stuff. I mean, that's the entertainment industry. You have to give up yourself. You have to. You have to. So it's no surprise. It's not even like certain people, they oh my God, like all this crazy news about Jay-Z and Diddy and Rihanna and this and that. Like, this is nothing surprising at all if you have an understanding. And not even talking about just the general aspect of the entertainment industry, just in general of this world. And it starts with the scriptures. If you understand the scriptures, none of this stuff is a surprise to you. None of this stuff, man. None of it. And I'm not saying that to, brag or be boastful. Or, it's more so about understanding what's important for us. And that's the Most High. Reading the scriptures, feeding ourselves with the knowledge and the wisdom and the understanding. That's what's more important, is having knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. The blessing from the Heavenly Father. And that's with context, that's with due diligence. That's what being able to put things in its proper perspective. And, you just put two and two together. Like I said, context. It's obvious, Like I said, if one person is doing it, it has to be a systemic thing. It has to be a thing where it's a culture, quote unquote.
And she was discovered in Barbados.
Correct.
And she was in a hotel room with a grown man who we don't know what he was there for. But let's be realistic here. Men in the music industry love to go to third world countries, love to go to, or second world countries, whatever you want to call Barbados. And they like to go there and they like to have fun. They like to do things that they wouldn't be allowed to do here in America, And Rihanna ended up going from there to Jay-Z's office in a matter of months. And then inside of Jay-Z's office, this isn't the only young woman at the time who people were rumoring that Jay-Z was with. If we look at Beyonce, I've already looked in. I've already found times where Jay-Z said that he basically met her 16, 17. And he didn't claim he was in a relationship with her. He insinuates that he met her at that age. And if we use our mind, if we use common sense, possibility that he was already flirting with her or into that, because by the time she was 18, they were in a relationship essentially. And it's the same thing with, what was it, Little Mama? Is that the other artist that was with Jay-Z?
Foxy Brown.
Or Foxy Brown, yeah. Foxy Brown was
Foxy Brown was 15.
Exactly my point. And also, it's rumored, it's alleged that she had something going on with Jay-Z as well before she, was an adult. Aaliyah, another person who was very relatively young, is also rumored that Jay-Z had something going on with her. Now, we also see that Jay-Z and Diddy have a very close relationship. We've seen them party together often. And let's be honest here, those parties are the pre-party for the freak-off party.
And also when it comes to the parties, that's how most of these rappers get turned out. They get drugged up. They go to these parties. And sometimes when they go to these parties, that's where they get drugged up and turned out. To the point where they probably don't even remember that they've been, quote unquote, raped or what have you. And that's what it is. Like, these parties is more than meets the eye. It's more than just a party. Like, sometimes they just do drugs or they have a big ass orgy. You know what I mean? That's what the entertainment industry is about. That's what it's about. You have these initiates who are, onward when it comes to their trajectory. They rising, or they have some sort of prognosis to rise, where it's like, okay, this is your trajectory. This is what's going to happen for you based off of what's in store. Some of the initiates, they get turned out. They get turned out at those parties. Like Justin Bieber, perfect example. Justin Bieber, he was someone who was turned out. You can look at him now. All the tattoos, all that stuff is a covering up of the shame of what he had to undergo. I know you guys saw that video of Diddy and just pretty much basically sodomizing Justin Bieber. It's like, that dude is a creep. But they all creeps because something happened to Diddy. So it's just a transfer of energy when it comes to this person being molested, this person being molested, this person being turned out, this person being turned out. Because Diddy, he was turned out by Clive Davis. Clive Davis wanted him to get on his knees so he can be able to give him something in return for what Diddy wanted. This is crazy, man. But that's the entertainment industry, man. That's the entertainment industry. Even that video I did on Isaiah Rashad, where you see the picture of him giving fellatio to another man and he comes out as a pansexual and all this nonsense. No, that's them letting you know what they really about. That's them letting you know what they really about. He says, "Oh, I'm sexually fluid." No, that's the surface level meaning of what a pansexual is. A pansexual is someone who has sex with all things. That's what they do in the entertainment industry. That's why I did a video of what was alleged to be Drake having sex with a dog. And we already know that the dog is associated with Drake. It's a lot, man.